Okay, hello all. Welcome to Dead Pandemonium, the podcast in which we bear our less expressed chaos. So, today, this is the first episode, and honestly, I have a lot to say. I think that this kind of seems like a random idea, but it's actually not because I've been wanting to do a podcast for quite a while now. And I already have a YouTube channel, so this could kind of seem like overkill maybe, but honestly, I've always enjoyed podcasts. I like watching them visually, so that is why, for those of you watching on YouTube, you can also see me right now. But I really suck at listening to podcasts, literally just the audio. I don't know why. Like, I feel like I just have to see a video with the audio. So if you're like that too, that's why I'm doing this. So the whole idea of this pretty much came about because I was just thinking about talking more, connecting more with my followers, listeners. I don't know if I'm allowed to say fans yet, but if anyone wanted to know, the fandom name is Deadfans. Yes, Deadfans, like my stage name, Deadpan. So I will unpack all of these things. I just want to create this to connect with all of you on a deeper level. This content is really aligned with my lane. I really am big on authenticity. For those of you who've been following me on YouTube for a while, I studied abroad in South Korea for an academic year. So it was my whole sophomore year, and now I'm in my junior year of college, and I'll be a senior soon. This is literally my last semester of my junior year. But anyway, for my sophomore year, I studied abroad in South Korea, and that was pretty much from, I would say, August 2024 to July, July 2025. So yeah, it was about a year. And I had a lot of experiences, which we can unpack that in a whole another episode if you guys want to know more about that. But I basically just want to connect with all of you on a deeper level, and that YouTube vlog series, Nia in Korea, that is where I literally showed my whole study abroad from start to finish in Seoul. And I honestly thought that was a great way to connect with all of you guys. And I felt like y'all were able to get a better sense of who I am as a person, and I am very much embarking on my musical journey now. I'm double minoring in music and entertainment business at my college. And honestly, I really felt like I was missing a piece of creativity with my major and minor already. So I am an Asian studies major, and I am double minoring in Korean and again, music and entertainment business. At first, it was just Asian studies and Korean minor. But honestly, a lot of people who are doing that, or at least from what I've seen from other creators who are studying Korean and interested in Korea or any other East Asian languages and cultures, it just seems like a lot of them want to be teachers. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I really have a passion for that, but I haven't really seen anybody else in my lane be very creative and musical. So I just want to share that if anybody else out there is like that, because I'm telling you, I would have wanted to see someone with similar interests as me growing up, because I honestly felt really weird and bad for my interests for such a long time just because it was different. People are just scared of different, and it is what it is, but hey, like, you have to be yourself. So now I'm going to be discussing more about what this podcast kind of entails, like the things I want to do, the ways that I can interact more with you guys through this podcast, and yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to hold you. I really need to get used to this format because I feel kind of shy doing this right now, but hey, that's what I said this is all about, bearing the less expressed chaos. And y'all see what I did there. Okay, so I want to talk about more about what this is going to be about, so you guys can know, get you guys interested. First of all, the name of this podcast, Dead Pandemonium. So pandemonium by itself means like chaos, uproar, right? Something unsettling, something huge, kind of like a spectacle, right? But ultimately, it's just very unsettling in nature. As a goth, this will be very like gothic in terms of like style and a lot of the themes that I'll be talking about, a lot of this will be connected and surrounding the goth subculture. And I just feel like Pandemonium has that, that energy where it's just like, it's something huge, chaotic, and that's honestly one of the things I really, really love about the subculture. I feel like, when you go back to the 80s and everything, like late 70s, early 80s, everything, like when it was at its peak, when it first started and everything, the subculture was just so like in your face and so expressive and really chaotic in the best way. That honestly scared a lot of people, right? Like Pandemonium scares people. It makes people feel unsettled. And I think me and who I am in a lot of ways really does unsettle people. Kind of like what I mentioned earlier with me and my interests and how it made me or other people made me feel weird for just being myself, being different. That's really kind of the core of why I really connect to the goth subculture, because it makes me feel heard, it makes me feel seen in that way. And again, I'll elaborate more on this in this bit because we're really going to unpack how I got into the subculture in this first episode as well. Secondly, deadpan, which is the first part of the name, right? Deadpandemonium, into the next part, pandemonium. My stage name, Deadpan, there is a whole backstory for that, but first I'll just explain it simply. So the simple way that I can describe it is, for quite some time I have been told by family members that I don't smile in my pictures, or that I always look gloomy, or I always look upset or ruthless in my pictures. And that was like after I graduated high school that I started looking that way. I mean, I pretty much had an RBF, okay? I had a resting bitch face. And hey, I mean, I was just looking deadpan. So, but the reason that I want to name myself that is because I wanted to take my power back in that. People were trying to make me feel bad for looking that way, but that's just naturally how I felt like looking. If I didn't feel like smiling or being super happy, looking happy all the time, even though I literally am happy and just fine looking like that, that's just my facial expression. I'm just being myself. And that's literally my whole brand. That's why I want to connect with you guys through this podcast. That's why I named myself Deadpan for my stage name, because I'm literally just authentically being myself, and what seems like a lack of expression is really my truest form, my truest expression. That was kind of a long way, but let's just say that's the semi-long, short way to put it, but let's go ahead and unpack the big one. Okay, so this section will be put together. The way that my stage name comes about also kind of ties into my story with the goth subculture. So here we go. Also, something else that I'm going to do is I'm going to have some trademarks of the episode, like not really, but some things that I do for the vibes, and just me being me. So first today we have tea. I'm probably going to be drinking tea or coffee most of these episodes because, hey, like that's my addiction. I love me some tea and some coffee. Today we have eucalyptus tea. And it's so good. And then also, I will pull a tarot card each episode. So today we pulled the Fool. And for those of you who are not into like the occult, spirituality, or witchcraft or anything like that, well, the Fool card pretty much means new beginnings and, the hardships that come with it, embracing the challenge, embracing that you know nothing about it, literally just embarking on a new journey. And I feel like that's honestly perfect for today because, hey, that's literally what we're doing right now. Living out loud, doing something new. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this series. Please let me know down in the comments what y'all think. And yeah, I'm so excited to be embarking on this with you, my dead fans. Alright, so this is going to be really long, I feel like. I'm not going to hold you. I'm very long-winded. And I think that's also why I'm starting this today because podcasts can be a little bit longer, but YouTube videos, not so much. I'm going to try my best for y'all. on YouTube. Pretty much, I've always had a dark sense of humor. I think I've kind of been darkly inclined for a long time. I just didn't allow myself to believe it or know it, tap into it for a long time. Whenever people said a dark joke, I would instantly laugh at it. Also, when I was really young, I just remember loving the Addams Family, and I don't know, like it really appealed to me at a young age. I would always be like, hey, can we watch the Addams Family with my mom? It's just something about those movies that like really gave me comfort, I guess. And I still feel that to this day. But I was not goth literally until like about 3 years ago. I mean, I believe I've always been gothic, but like personality wise, mindset wise, but stylistically and musically, I was not goth yet until really like about 3-ish, 4-ish years ago. It's very funny because the transition made it seem very likely that this is going to happen for quite some time. I've always been alternative though, that is for sure. I've always been alternative literally since I was born. As a kid, my first dream, as I always call it, was fashion design. I really did not plan on becoming a music artist or anything like that. A content creator, yes, I did kind of have that in mind for quite some time, but I honestly thought I'm going to be a fashion designer when I grow up. Well, life has a really funny way of working because my plans changed a lot. And when I was like 12 years old, I got into K-pop. Yes, Korean pop music. I got into K-pop, and that changed my whole world. I'm not gonna hold you. A little bit before that, I would try to learn a little bit of Spanish. Like, I was kind of into that for a little second. I would be studying Spanish, but I was just like, oh my god, who is this boy group? BTS? Yes. Like, that's literally how I was at 12 years old. I saw DNA by BTS. It was over. It was over for me. And yeah, my whole world flipped. Okay? And fashion has always been a part of my life. So don't go thinking that, oh, she just stopped being into fashion at that point. No. Literally, fashion is my everything, and it will always continue to be. I think that's honestly not going away. I don't believe that I'll be my main job is fashion designer, but something you'll learn about me as well is that I do a lot of stuff, and I've just come to accept that that's who I am. I can't commit to just one thing. I'm an entrepreneur at best. I do everything. I do fashion, music, writing. I'm an author. I do a lot of stuff. After I got into K-pop music, I started learning the language that same year. And as I was learning Korean, I was just having such an appreciation for the language and the culture, and it started going really deep. I had an immense respect for it. So I was like, I want to live in South Korea. I want to do music in South Korea. At first, I wanted to be a K-pop idol. Then I was like, yeah, no, because that is hard work, and there's a lot of things about the industry that, yeah. So I just wanted to do my own thing. I thought, hey, maybe if I do music in South Korea, then maybe I can just be a Korean R&B artist, a K-R&B artist. Because after getting into K-pop, I immediately got into K-R&B and K-hip-hop shortly after, and I love that even more than K-pop, okay? And I still listen to Korean R&B and hip-hop today. You know, some people are split on what they think. Ultimately, we already know that K-pop and those genres alike, they all take inspiration from us, you know, Black culture. There's no debate about it. Everyone knows this. And yeah. But that's honestly lots of things. We've created most of the genres except for like the culturally significant based genres of music, and that's just kind of how things work. I just feel like I want to live in South Korea. I want to have my music everywhere. I want to have my career, all my assets, and I want to do this in a very smart way while doing what I love and being authentic to myself. And that's just what I've come to now. I figured that I wanted to be a K-R&B artist because I felt like those companies were a lot more chill and like calm and more respectable, more, you know, accepting of creativity and not so rigid in rules and things like that. So I was like, hey, that's what I'm gonna do. I love the music even more than I love K-pop. That's what it is. But honestly, I'm gonna be so for real. For anybody who knows DPR, Dream Perfect Regime, I was a hardcore DPR fan, okay? And for those of you on YouTube, you can see my tattoo right here. I literally have a DPR tattoo. I was and am a hardcore fan of DPR. I still love their music to this day, but for those who know, you know what happened. For those who don't know, basically DPR is a record label, and it's a bunch of friends who came together to create it. They had a shared dream of making music. They believe that they can earn all their profits doing what they love. They don't have to like succumb to, you know, harsh, rigid standards, things that I just said just now. That was literally the whole goal of their team. And that is honestly why they connected to me so much, because I felt like our visions aligned, which is why I even wanted to join DPR. So anybody from DPR is watching this, honestly, I still would love to join. Everything's, you know, getting together. I still would want to be a part of the team, so don't count me out. But a couple of the members, there was one mainly, but they were in the background stealing money and stuff, and whole thing got out of hand. After I saw that whole thing, it just made me feel like, dang, maybe I can't trust anyone. And that is something that I'm still struggling with. I really do have trust issues, and that is something that I'm trying to work on. I just felt like a lot of people in my life haven't really shown me that I can trust them, so that's a struggle that I have. And it's made me all the more highly independent. Okay, I was already independent to begin with, but after so many issues and things with people where I felt like I could not trust them, and it felt like betrayal or something like that, I just closed up and I was like, I can trust myself, so I had to do everything myself. And again, I know that's not really the healthiest mindset, so it's something that I'm working past right now actively. It just made me like think, damn, what do I do now? Because I felt like going to South Korea and doing K-R&B music and possibly joining DPR, like, that was my dream. That was my second dream. But after that, I was like, well, damn, what do I do? I'd be out here writing books. I like recording covers. I like, you know, talking about stuff. Now what? Because, I mean, that was the main thing that I wanted to do in tandem with the rest. But I kind of felt unmotivated for a while. Also, before DPR, I wanted to really join AOMG. That was, like, really first. I was like, yeah, I want to be an AOMG artist. Then AOMG started going downhill. Then I want to be a DPR artist. DPR started going downhill. So, yeah. But it was in this era when I was in my freshman year of college. The gap between high school senior and college freshman, it was a very big growth period for me, because I honestly felt really betrayed by my closest friends at the time. And I'm not gonna lie, that like really fucked me over, because I thought, oh, these are people that I'm gonna graduate with and everything's gonna be cool, but no, that didn't happen. And I literally came out of high school with two best friends, and I still love them to this day. I love y'all so much. Y'all are everything I need. So thank you so much for everything that you do for me. You guys are the best. But that period really made me closed off. I was going through something in the midst of my friends betraying me, so that's why it hit so hard. I was going through some problems because literally my parents were getting a divorce, and I felt like it needed to happen. I was in support of it, but it just hurt to like really think, wow, this is actually happening and things are gonna change now. So, you know, those friends were just not really there for me, and it's not really a thing of they weren't there for me that like I wanted them to be. It's like they literally just were not there for me like at all, and I was very transparent with them about what was going on, and they saw that I was getting really sad. That's probably the closest that I kind of got to depression. I wouldn't say that I went into full-blown depression, but it really increased my anxiety, which later on last summer I got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Yeah, it definitely increased my anxiety, and I became quite sad during that period. After I graduated, it really, really made me closed off. I became a lot more introverted, and that's when I stopped smiling. Because pretty much ever since I was a young tot to that point, as a senior in high school, graduating and everything, I was that girl who was like so happy, and if I wasn't smiling, people knew it was a problem, and I was people pleasing so much. I was a hardcore people pleaser. And people were just used to that from me. So when I stopped smiling, that made them uncomfortable and they wanted to distance themselves from me. So that happened, and honestly, that hurt a lot.